Hey everybody! So today we're going to take a look at this interesting building set. Now, it's a Lego style building set, but it's not Lego. And what's interesting about it is it's obviously a Calvin and Hobbes building set. But what's cool is that they managed to get away with it by not marketing as a Calvin and Hobbes thing. So I believe Bill Watterson was the gentleman who did the comic strip. I think it ran for about 10 years, and then he got fed up with the syndication of the syndicate, the people that was in charge of comics. They kept taking away his freedoms of how he wanted to present the comic. And a lot of times when you read that comic strip, when Calvin is going on some tirade about, this is tyranny and what about my rights and all this stuff, those were actually jabs that he was making towards the syndicate. And I think he finally got tired of it and said, you know what, I'm done. And he just disappeared and quit doing it. And he even passed up millions and millions of dollars that he could have made on marketing. So the way they got around it with this is it's just marketed as Boy and Tiger Adventure Building Set. So we all know what it actually is supposed to be. So here they are in the wagon. You know how those two would go on their adventures and go flying off of cliffs while debating philosophical things in life, which is neat. So they're kind of blocky, but that's all right. I thought it was kind of neat. I found this on Amazon. So let's take a look at the parts. Okay, so now I am not expecting these to be very high quality pieces because it is a knockoff brand, and I'm not even sure if it's a like a decent quality knockoff. Although I will say, as I mentioned in previous, oh, these are numbered. I was not expecting that. Um, as I've said in other previous videos for brands that are not Lego, these brands are starting to catch up with Lego. They're starting to have better quality parts, which is what Lego needs, is some competition. Well, these look just like it, and they actually look okay. I guess I'll know when I feel them. I'm curious to see how their clutch power is and how they're going to come together. I don't know how many pieces are in this set. I don't know if it was mentioned. So it looks like the bags are numbered up to 3. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of parts to it, to be honest with you. Let's see, I think that was everything in the box. So here's the instructions. That's what it's going to look like. Probably the same layout. Oh, look at that. We can start building oh, I see. Bag 1 builds the wagon. Okay, so yeah, at least these are corresponding to the bags. I've built some where the bags are numbered, but they don't even refer to anything. So it looks like they actually did it right with this set. So it looks like it's going to be kind of fun, to be honest with you. Now, I think there's going to be some motion. There's a little bit of motion with this. When you turn this handle, Calvin's head will, I think his whole upper body turns, and I think Hobbes's head will turn as well. There you can see how Hobbes is put together. These are going to be cool. I think it's going to be a fun set. I'm not sure. Oh, there's kind of like part of the mechanics right there. I'm guessing when you build the lower part, that's when you're going to start doing. There might be a little bit of technique involved. Looks like a really simple mechanism. All right, well, let me get started on this. I think it'll be a pretty cool little set to build. Okay, here it is all built. This looks pretty cool. It actually looks pretty good. It turned out to be a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be. I, for some reason, figured Hobbes was only going to be about as tall as where his nose is. Now, it is a pretty cool set. I would say that Hobbes looks very good. I'd say they did a really good job on him. Calvin, it was probably a little hard for them to pull off his face. Maybe it's the nose that's throwing it off for some reason for me. But the hair looks pretty decent. I don't know. These characters would be hard to pull off in building block form, but they each, just kind of fit in there. You can take them off if you want to, but they're not really made to come off. This whole thing rolls so good. I mean, it's very smooth. You can see how this rolls. And also, when you turn this, you can see that their heads turn when Calvin's whole upper body turns like that, and then Hobbes' head turns along with him. And then, you can steer it that way. They can turn this way, they can turn this way. On the bottom here, you can kind of see how the mechanics of this works. It's a very simple kind of thing going on here. They just have this technique in here. See how it moves back and forth like that? There's a little wheel in there. That's what turns Hobbes's head. Nice rubber wheels. Now, in the instructions, they don't have the decorative side of the rims showing, but I didn't like the look of that. So I went ahead and turned it so that the decorative side shows. I mean, it's strictly up to you how you want to build it, but it's very cool. Let's get some close-ups so I can talk about some of the details on it. Now, there is some articulation with Hobbes. You can move his arm. So it's just on a little clip right here. So it just moves up and down. And you can also move his paw, his front hand, basically. But it looks like it was meant to go right on the side. So it looks like he's gripping on. And you can see his face. Looks just like him. Very fun to build, Hobbes. I really had a good time building him. I love they use the teeth pieces to make those little fluffy furls of fur that he's got on the side of his head, and just really kind of a neat way they did it. I love how his feet have the little toe beans on there as well. His tail is, you can adjust this. You can have it stick straight out if you want, or have it go all the way up. It's also bendable up here. I just have it kind of curled up a little bit right there. So it looks very nice. You can see all the striping on the back side of him. It's nicely done. And his whole body is sitting in there, so it looks very good. Now Calvin here, he's got a red and white shirt on. And you can see how his hands are holding onto the handle of the wagon right there. The nose is what I was talking about. I mean, I don't know how they could have done that, given the dimensions of his face. It would be really hard to do a cartoon or a comic character, but it looks like they did the hair pretty good, because his hair was always kind of a bit of a mess, and also just the way his eyes and stuff were done. Now, I did have to glue a couple things because I thought it was kind of weird. First of all, Calvin's shoulders back here, there's these curved pieces, and they're only held on by the one stud back here, and they kept falling off, and I had to glue that. Where the curved piece is inside of there, I had to glue that on because it kept falling off, mainly because I had to fight with this a little bit. This post is not really long enough. You can kind of see how it's kind of stretched to the maximum. You have to kind of pull, where it's connected here and here, you have to kind of pull on it a little bit. In fact, you can kind of see here how it's bent a little bit. See this part right here? How it bends up a little bit? That's just because it's not quite long enough. When I'm connecting it, it kept trying to come apart right here. So I glued that piece onto they're like two candlestick pieces right there. So I glued that on, and so it does kind of pull on it a little bit, but that was kind of a miscalculation maybe on the way that they designed it. Calvin's mouth also opens and closes. I'm not sure you can kind of see it move a little bit here. So you can open up his mouth if you want to. I think it looks actually better closed though. But other than that, that's the only thing I had to really kind of fight with. When you're putting his hands on, they connect to his arms, which are just these posts right here. So you're going to have to adjust the width between these two pieces in order for them to fit on each arm. So you're going to have to mess with that a little bit. So Calvin was a little bit more tricky to build. Hobbes went together really good. So yeah, you may have to glue those pieces back there, and you'll probably have to glue here too. It's almost like they needed a little spacer or something in here just to kind of take up a little bit of slack in there, because it's just, this thing is a little too short. You can see how it kind of ends up bending that. But, other than that, everything's fine. It rolls so good. I'm really impressed at how smooth this rolls. The pieces are actually not too bad. I would say, when I first opened it, I would say the red pieces didn't look like they were as good a quality as, say, Lego or something like that, or even some of the other off-brands. I don't even know who makes this. I couldn't figure out. There's no name brand on the box, but it does work really good. I mean, there is not hardly any. There's virtually no Calvin and Hobbes merchandise out there at all. Like I said, Bill Watterson chose not to merchandise it. In fact, if you ever see those little bumper stickers that people have where Calvin is like peeing and he's got that evil look on his face, those were not authorized by Bill Watterson, or whoever owns the whole thing. So yeah, there's just not a whole lot of merchandise. I was really glad to see this, but I will say that I looked on Amazon just now because I had to go recheck the price. These things retail for $30, but I couldn't. When I looked on there, it says that they are no longer available. So I don't know if I got the very last one or they sold out. I don't know if they were pulled because maybe they found out that these were being made and they're not licensed, even though they're not using the Calvin and Hobbes name, but it's clearly the image. But it says that they don't know when they're going to get more of these back in. So I'll go ahead and put a link to this in the description to Amazon where I got it, and then maybe they'll get them back in stock. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if they're able to get away with doing it, but I don't know how long it's been out. But I really like it. I think it's cool. I really wish Bill Watterson would have merchandised his creation. I mean, that is probably one of the most popular comic strips around. I have all the books. I absolutely love Calvin and Hobbes. I still read it on the apps, the comic apps. And it's funny because sometimes Hobbes will say something about going to rent a VCR and a movie. It's like, my goodness, that shows you how dated this thing is. It was from the 90s. And so it's kind of funny, but it's a great little set. So if you can find it, if you can get it, and you're a big Calvin and Hobbes fan, I would say definitely get this thing because it's cool. I really like it. All right, well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. Until the next time, I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.